gentlemen, welcome back to another video here on DNTV, and today I am going to be covering our record from our picks for week 1. I'm going to be covering the stat leaders of week 1, and I will be covering our picks for week 2. So we will hop right into it with our record as week 1. We got the Chiefs and Ravens game right. We got the Packers and Eagles game correct. So, as well as the Panthers and Saints, the Vikings and Giants. We did not pick the Patriots and Bengals game correctly. We chose the Bengals, and they lost. We got the Steelers game, Steelers and Falcons right, Texans and Colts. We did not correctly pick the Cardinals and Bills, so we picked the Cardinals, and the Bills won. Nor did we get the Titans and Bears game right. We got the Jaguars and Dolphins game right. We lost the Broncos and Seahawks game. We got the Raiders and Chargers game, as well as the Cowboys and Browns. And we lost the Commanders and Bucks. So right there, we were already 9-5. The Sunday Night Football game, we did correctly pick the Lions. And the Monday Night Football game, we did not correctly pick the Jets. So we ended up with a 10-6 record. So not too shabby. Not too bad. Real quickly, I wanted to go over the stat leaders for week 1. So we're going to start out with the passing leaders. At quarterback, we have ranked number 1, we have Tua Tagovailoa at 338 passing yards. And number 2, we have Matthew Stafford at 317 passing yards. Number 3, we have Patrick Mahomes at 291 yards. Number 4, we have Baker Mayfield at 289 yards. And number 5, we have Jalen Hurts at 278 yards. Let me just set that right there so we can... Moving on, touchdown leaders for quarterbacks. We have number 1 at Baker Mayfield, threw for 4 touchdowns against the Commanders. So the Commanders just seemingly must not have had a very good defense. And I mean, they are quite a ways away from having a good team yet. Good quarterback, but decent. He'll be an okay quarterback, I think. So far, obviously the rookie quarterbacks really kind of struggled this week. Bo Nix, Caleb Williams didn't even have 100 passing yards. He had 93. Jaden Daniels didn't throw very well either. And what's the other one? The one for the Patriots. No, he's not playing yet. But anyway, Baker Mayfield had 4 touchdowns. Derek Carr had 3 touchdowns. Tied for 3rd, we have Josh Allen at 2, Sam Darnold, Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love, Anthony Richardson, and CJ Stroud, all at 2 touchdowns. Now, moving on to the running backs, we have Joe Mixon at 159 yards, Jordan Mason at 147, an undrafted free agent signing for San Francisco. Christian McCaffrey did not play this week. RIP to the people who thought he was going to play and picked him up, and he didn't play. Now, obviously, hopefully he'll be back next week. I don't think they've really stated whether or not he's going to, but it looks like they don't have to worry about running back even if he doesn't, because he was running like a bat out of hell against the Jets defense. I mean, he was running like mad. J.K. Dobbins for the Chargers had 135 rushing yards, although he didn't get as many touches as the other running back they have, but he got more rushing yards. Shocker, Lamar Jackson is number 4 at the rushing leaders board after week 1 at 122 rushing yards. He tried to run his way to a win for the Ravens against the Chiefs this week on Thursday, and he did not succeed. So yeah, he's at number 4 with 122 rushing yards. Oh my God. And Ramondre Stevenson, I believe he's with the Patriots if I'm not mistaken. He's got 120 rushing yards. Rushing touchdown leaders. At quarterback, Josh Allen is up in first with 2, or he's tied for first with 2. Saquon Barkley is tied for first with 2, and so is Jaden Daniels, tied for first with 2. So little surprise there that 2 quarterbacks are rounding out top 3, and Saquon Barkley, although he did have 3 total touchdowns in his Eagles debut, which was pretty wild. And I bet it hurts, and I bet it really hurts the Giants to see him go out there and do that after letting him go. At number 4, we have, tied for 4, we have quite a few people. Davon Ackney has 1, James Conner has 1, J.K. Dobbins has 1, Ezekiel Elliott has 1, Travis Etienne, Jerome Ford, and Jahmyr Gibbs all have 1 touchdown. Moving on to receiving yard leaders, we have Jalen Reed at 138, Tyreek Hill at 130, Alec Pierce at 125, Jameson Williams at 121, and A.J. Brown at 119. So a little bit surprised there, to be honest. I mean, I'm not surprised when you got Tyreek Hill and A.J. Brown, but a lot of other guys are kind of shocking, especially like Jameson Williams at 121 passing yards. He was playing really well for Detroit against the Rams. Little surprised that Alec Pierce had 125 for the Colts, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Touchdown leaders, on the other hand, it's a pretty wild list. Stephon Diggs is tied at first with 2. No surprise, because I think that Houston is going to be a really good team once they get going, especially when CJ Stroud starts going and starts getting a little bit of chemistry going with Stephon Diggs. He's already got Tank Dell and Nico Collins. And now that they got Joe Mixon. Did I say Joe Mixon had? Yeah. Mike Evans for Tampa Bay is tied at first with 2. You're surprised considering, like I said, Baker Mayfield passed for 4 touchdowns. Alan Lazard is also tied at second with, tied at first with 2 touchdowns. Little tough loss there for the Jets. They did not play very well. But when you're going against the 49ers defense right now, it's going to be really tough sledding. So no surprise that it honestly wasn't surprised that they lost. I thought the Jets would have played a little bit better, which is why I picked them. But Brock Purdy went out there and he showed that he's still, you ain't gonna fuck with us yet. Tied for 4th, we have Saquon Barkley at 1, A.J. Brown at 1, and this is for receiving touchdowns. Zach Carbonet at 1, and 26 other receivers tied at 1 touchdown. So that's a pretty wild list there. Like I said, it's no surprise with the top 2 being Stephon Diggs and Mike Evans, because they still have really good quarterbacks. But so surprise, a lot of people only had 1 receiving touchdown coming out of the week. So now we're going to move on to defensive leaders. At combined total tackles, we have Zach Bond is tied for first at 15, and TJ Edwards is tied at 15. Nick Cross is at third at 14, and tied for 4th is Alex Anzalone, Julian Blackman, and Logan Wilson all have 13 total tackles already. So pretty wild list there. Really kind of surprised that none of the other big names are out there yet for that. Especially after week 1. That's crazy having 15 total tackles already. They must have been really flying around there. But sack leaders this week, out of week 1, we have Gregory Rousseau got 3. Alante Taylor also has 3. Keon White is third at 2.5. Zach Bond is tied at 4th with 2. Jonathan Cooper is at 2. Patrick Jones II is at 2, and Eric Kendricks is at 2, and 3 others are also at 2. TJ Watt would also be on that list had the NFL refs decided not to go back and look at it at the play that had the flag. wrongly called that flag on him for off zone, neutral zone encroachment when he timed. A lot of people were saying that he timed the snap perfect. As soon as the ball moves, he's gone, and he had a strip sack on that one, but it was called back obviously for the neutral zone infraction. But it should have counted because he was not over the line before the ball was snapped. However, it's neither here nor there because the Steelers' defense did play really well in the second half of the Steelers and Atlanta game. I believe they only allowed like 54 total yards to Houston in the second half. I mean, Atlanta scored all 10 of their points in the first half, and they did not score in the second half as well. Granted, the offense showed they showed promise. I would have liked to have seen a touchdown in there, but Chris Boswell is the MVP of that game for the Steelers, no doubt, hitting 6 for 6 on field goals and having to go out and punt within their 30-yard line thanks to Cameron Johnston getting injured because a defender ran into him. Should have been called a roughing the passer call, and all that was called was a holding on the Steelers. So you send Chris Boswell out there, who has never punted, and he booted like a 30 or 40-yard punt. And the special teams did not allow, I think, a return on that one, which was really well done. And shout out to Scotty Miller for being the emergency snap holder for the last field goal that Boswell hit. And obviously that went through, so they ultimately scored only field goals, 18-10 win. Interception leaders, we have Jair Alexander at 1, Reed Blankenship at 1, Kalen Bullock at 1, Trayvon Diggs at 1, Deshaun Elliott at 1, Demetrius Flanagan Fowles at 1. Wow, that's a tongue twister. Poona Ford at 1, Will Harris at 1, Jordan Howden at 1, and Dante Jackson at 1, and 13 others also at 1. So it was a very defensive week this week, it seems like. But that's all the stats we have for this week, and I will cover the leading stats next week after week 2, which now I am going to move on to my week 2 picks. Starting on Thursday Night Football, we have the Bills and the Dolphins. I kind of went back and forth on this one, considering that Josh Allen really kind of took it on his back to win this week. However, with how the offense played for the Dolphins, I don't believe that the Bills are going to have enough. I think the Cardinals were in the lead for a while before the Bills ended up coming back. So I'm going to pick the Dolphins on this one. I just think that the Dolphins offense is a little bit more high-powered than the Bills offense. So I just think for the sake of the fact, I think the Dolphins are just going to be able to score more points. So we're picking the Dolphins. 49ers versus the Vikings to start out Sunday. Vikings played really well against the Giants, but the Giants are not a good team. And the 49ers defense is still no shit and not to be fucked with. So unfortunately, I do not think that the Vikings are going to come into week 2 and take a win again. So I'm picking the 49ers just for the sake of, like I said, the defense is not to be fucked with yet. I mean, obviously, once Brock Purdy starts to want big money, I believe next year, they're going to have to start making big decisions, and they're going to start losing people. So this is their last year that the 49ers are going to have a shot to make the Super Bowl, to be honest. But I'm picking the 49ers on that one. I think the 49ers are going to beat the fuck out of the Vikings. Next, we have the Seahawks and Patriots. The Patriots just came off of a win at Cincinnati and beat Joe Burrow at home, so I think they're going to ride that win, and I think they're going to win in week 2. Just because the Seahawks, they're okay. They're good. They picked up a win against the Broncos. But I think the Patriots just have a little bit more of a momentum kind of. They managed to beat the Cincinnati Bengals. And I mean, the Seahawks only beat the Broncos. I mean, the Broncos, with their quarterback, they have a lot of promise. He didn't throw a touchdown. He didn't throw a touchdown. Bo Nix didn't, but he threw 2 interceptions. But I think he's still got a ways to go, and these rookie quarterbacks still have a ways to go before they start get going. Because obviously, like I said, none of the rookies really played very well. But so in that aspect, the Patriots are going to win this game. Next, we have kind of a garbage match, if you will. The Giants versus the Commanders. The Giants aren't a very good team, and neither are the Commanders. Because the Giants got the shit kicked out of them 28-6, and the Commanders lost pretty decently to the Bucks. But I think the Commanders are going to win this one, considering it's at home. Because the Giants have a lot to figure out yet before they are good. And the Commanders, I think they're a long ways away yet, too. But I think the Commanders are going to be in a better position to win, especially since they're at home. So the Commanders I'm picking the Commanders. Oh, I suppose I forgot. Chargers at the Panthers is next. I am picking the Chargers. No brainer, because the Panthers got the fuck kicked out of them. I mean, they got the brakes beat off of them by the Saints. I mean, 47-10. That's a tough loss. So, I think the Panthers are out of anybody, I think they are a really long way from being a good contending team. Bryce Young, I think they said that he should have been good, but I don't think he has much around him. I mean, especially being only 2-15, being 2-15 last year, they did not do very good. So, and the Chargers are a lot farther along on trying to be a playoff team than the Panthers are. So the Chargers are going to win this one. Saints and Cowboys. Yes, the Saints just came off of a 47-10 win, but that was against the Panthers. The Cowboys just beat the shit out of the Browns, 33-10. If I remember right. So the Cowboys are going to win this one. I don't think the Saints have anything to contend. I don't think they have enough to contend with the Cowboys defense. And I think Dak is going to have a bit of a field day, I would suppose. Against the Saints defense. So the Cowboys are going to win. Next, we have the Colts and the Packers. Without Jordan Love and Malik Willis starting, Malik Willis is a long ways away from being a solid starting quarterback. Because he did lose his job in Tennessee. The Colts have Anthony Richardson, which I think Anthony Richardson is a better quarterback than Malik Willis is, and they have a solid team, especially with J.K. Dobbins running as wild as he did with 135 rushing yards. I think the Colts are going to win this one. No, J.K. Dobbins is for the Chargers, you dipshit. Anyway, the Colts are going to win this one. Next, we have the Browns and Jaguars. I think this is going to be my upset of the week, because I think the Jaguars are going to win against the Browns. I think coming off of a loss like that, where Deshaun Watson did not look good at all. He was running left and right and left and right and left and right. He did not get a chance against that Cowboys defense. I mean, his offensive line didn't block for hell for him either. And the Jaguars almost won this week, I think. They almost won. They had a 17-20 loss to the Dolphins. So I think the Jaguars are going to win this one, and this is my upset of the week. Next, you have the Jets at Titans. Aaron Rodgers did not play very well, but he faced the 49ers defense, and they are stout. And the Jets defense faced the 49ers offense, and that 49ers offense is still kicking it. So, but this is the Titans. This is a little bit less of a team, more or less of a team than the 49ers are, coming off a Super Bowl appearance like the 49ers. I think the Jets are going to win this one against the Titans, even though it is in Tennessee. Without Derrick Henry, I don't think the Titans are going to be good yet. They got a long way. And I don't think Will Levis is going to show out as much as you would think. But the Jets are going to win this one. Next, we have the Buccaneers at Lions. I think this is going to be a good game. The Buccaneers and Lions. It's going to be a very high-powered game. So the Lions are going to win this one, I think. Mainly because of the fact that the Lions, I think, are a lot farther along than the Buccaneers. And they won a really good game against the Rams, even when they didn't play their best. So the Lions are definitely going to win this one, I think. But look for it to be a really good game. Next, we have the Raiders at the Ravens. The Ravens are going to win this one. Lamar Jackson is going to run wild on the Raiders defense. The Raiders are not good in any sense of the word yet. I mean, Gardner Minshew, yes, he's a good quarterback, but he is no starting quarterback for a good long season. He's not enough to get the Raiders to where they need to go. Next, we have the Rams at Cardinals. Yes, the Rams played well this week, but I have the Cardinals winning, especially being in Arizona. I don't foresee it being a beatdown, but I think it's going to be close, considering that they had the lead against the Bills and then they lost it, I think. But I see it being a very, very close game. Either that, or I could also see the Rams kicking the shit out of the Cardinals, but I'm going to officially pick the Cardinals. Next, we have the Bengals at Chiefs. Now, this one's going to be a good game. It is going to be a tough, tough game, exactly like what Chiefs had against the Ravens. I don't think it's going to be as tough of a game as they did with the Ravens. Considering they only scored 10 points against a Patriots defense. So I have the Chiefs winning. I think it's going to be a little bit farther separated points-wise than you would think. But I think for some reason the Bengals are just not here yet. Unless they have T. Higgins, then it'll be closer. But ultimately, the Chiefs are going to win this one, especially because Xavier Worthy is going to be a speed demon, an absolute monster in the NFL. Once he starts going and once he starts getting experience under his belt, he is going to be a monster. And especially when Hollywood Brown comes out to that offense, oh my God, the Chiefs are going to be tough. Let alone you have a speed wide receiver like that, Travis Kelce, Isaiah Pacheco, and then Hollywood Brown on top of that. That's going to be a tough offense to stop. I'm going to be honest. Next, we have the Steelers and Broncos. This one, I hope, as of right now, I think they reported that they are preparing today as if Justin Fields is going to be the quarterback, but yet they are going to be looking at Russell Wilson and meeting with doctors and seeing where they're at with him. However, Justin Fields looked okay. He looked good. He didn't throw a touchdown pass, but he didn't throw an interception either. But I look to see that offense start picking up more and start getting more touchdowns going, especially once you let Fields get a chance to start working with George Pickens more on the field. I think it's going to be electric once they start going, especially with Najee Harris running like a bat out of hell this week. He plays tough, and he plays really tough. I wish Jaylen Warren was out there with him, because that is a really good two-headed monster. I think some people have been calling him Lightning and Thunder. I've seen it, which is good because Jaylen Warren is quick as hell, and Najee Harris, he will hit a motherfucker. I mean, I think he did too. Running out of bounds, a guy tried to block him out of bounds. He just blew him up, and he was like, "Yeah, that's right. You come at me like that, I'll beat your ass." Especially, I think the Steelers defense is going to have a field day against these Broncos offense. Wow, I think they are going to be nasty, especially TJ Watt already running around wild like that when he was against the Falcons offense, let alone the Broncos offensive line and a rookie quarterback like Bo Nix. I mean, let alone the Steelers defense played pretty fucking good against a guy like Kirk Cousins. A rookie quarterback? This is going to be Bo Nix's welcome to the NFL motherfucker kind of moment, because he is going to get eaten alive by that defensive line and that linebacker core. Peyton Wilson, I heard he looked really good against Atlanta, and they were. It's going to be a stout team. Bless you. Hopefully Joey Porter's okay. I heard he got sidelined a little bit. But as long as they keep those backfield guys healthy, Minka Fitzpatrick got signed to them. I wonder if Deshaun Elliott's hurt. I think he's in concussion protocol, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I thought I saw that he was in concussion protocol, but I don't think so. I think that's another guy. But hopefully, as long as they can keep Joey Porter Jr., Dante Jackson was a dog in that game with basically the game sealing fucking interception too. I mean, TJ Watt had the game ending sack, but Deshaun Elliott had an interception. Dante Jackson had an interception, and Joey Porter played really good against the receiver he was shadowing. But against people like Broncos, I can't wait to see this game. I can't wait to see how much the rookie quarterback tries. But I think he's going to get eaten alive. So I think the Steelers are going to win this game. The Bears and the Texans. Now this is going to be an interesting Sunday Night Football. Especially after Caleb Williams coming off of a game like he had with only 93 passing yards. And he got lucky that the defense showed up and the special teams showed up and got touchdowns for him. Otherwise, I don't think they would have won that game. I mean, that's why I ultimately believe I chose... I chose the Titans on that one because I didn't think I didn't think Caleb Williams was going to play well at all, and he really didn't. He was lucky that the Bears defense is a lot better than it has been, and the special teams played well. But against the Texans, against C.J. Stroud, and you really got to look at it too, with how I suppose not bad but not good the rookie quarterbacks had played this last week in week 1. You got to give C.J. Stroud a lot of credit because he steamrolled right through his rookie year. I mean, he played really good last year, considering that he was a rookie, but he was contending with motherfuckers as soon as he popped out onto the field. I mean, he was crazy. And now that he's in year 2, facing a rookie quarterback like Caleb Williams with only had 93 passing yards, hell no. The Bears ain't winning this game. They have no chance. The Texans are going to beat the shit out of the Texans are going to beat the fuck out of the Bears. I'll be honest. Tank Dell, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs is going to have a field day. CJ Stroud's going to go nuts. I want to say that my prediction this week is that CJ Stroud throws for 300. What's the passing leader so far? I want to say that CJ Stroud's going to go for 300 and 2 touchdowns at least. And I will write that down too. $300 sounds a little excessive, though. I mean, he could. He very well could. But... all right. We're going to stick to it. 302 touchdowns. And I'm probably wrong, but I am going to predicted that CJ Stroud, like I said, 300 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, at least. I mean, because if Tua can throw for 338 last week, and Baker Mayfield can throw for 289 at 4 touchdowns, CJ Stroud against the Bears is going to have a field day. So obviously the Texans are going to win. Like I said, Monday Night Football, we had the Falcons versus the Eagles. The Falcons did not play very well. Kirk Cousins did not do good. I mean, obviously, and that really kind of showed that sometimes it's okay to let your veteran guys and your starters sit in the preseason, but man, some of these quarterbacks did not play very well for missing the preseason. I mean, if you got a guy like Kirk Cousins that, yes, he's coming off of an injury, but he hasn't played with them. So give him a little bit more of a chance to actually get good with his team before you throw him out there against the Steelers defense. Because he threw a couple picks. 2, obviously. Duh. But I don't think he's going to win against the Eagles. I still don't. I think Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown are going to be better at a better standpoint so far than the Falcons. So I think the Eagles are going to win this one. I don't really think that I'm going to have any other predictions. I look to see Mahomes do good this year or this week. Ow. Blew my eardrum out. CJ Stroud's going to do really good. Mahomes. I look to see Jared Goff's going to do good against the Buccaneers, I think. Running back wise, look for J.K. Dobbins to be good, to have a fucking field day against the Panthers defense. He ran really well against their opponent last week. I see for him to be a very run heavy game again. Lamar Jackson's probably going to have just about the same rushing yards as he did last week. And, yeah. I think Saquon Barkley's going to do really good this week again. But I don't think Bo Nix is going to do good again this week. Neither is Deshaun Watson. He's got a lot of rust on his, he's got to shake off a lot of rust in order first to be good again. Especially facing another lawsuit. I'm surprised he's not on the NFL exempt list, but they paid him a lot of money for no reason. But what do I know? I'm a Steelers fan, so I am biased as hell against any of the AFC North, but I will admit sometimes when a quarterback's good, like Lamar Jackson, he is a good quarterback. Joe Burrow, he's a good quarterback. I think he's just been the unfortunate victim of a bad offensive line time and time again. But let me know down in the comments if you made it this far. Let me know down in the comments who you think is going to win and who you think is going to upset their opponent. But that's going to do it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the bell notifications. And I appreciate every single one of you for tuning in. As I say here at DNTV, I got to get used to saying that. Stay classy. Don't be trashy. And enjoy the rest of your day. Deuces!